Excessive human population within the state of Kansas is a non-issue, and that's pretty obvious with all the fields that we see around us. Excessive population within the U.S. itself is a non-issue, but that is not always the case. In China, for instance, where I was born, there are, 1,300,000,000 people compared to the U.S.'s 3 million. Statistically, that is for every one person in America, there is 5 Chinese people. So take a look around in your classroom, see all your classmates, and consider that's how many extra Chinese people that would be in this classroom. Kind of crowded, right? But having such large populations in the world has major effects. It changes the way populations think, how we develop, and how we function. Being a part of society, I witness every day firsthand how society functions. So, and as you should as well, I'm getting firsthand experience on that. And all of the studies that I have seen the past couple of days all support my observations, but also add a certain depth to my understanding. So today, I would like to share with you a couple of my discoveries about how population can affect society. The first point is that population affects society by changing our ideas. Sometimes those ideas can lead us to war. The second is that society, when we have new ideas, it can also bring about peace. It's kind of a circular relationship. The saying, 2 heads are better than one, is a great way of demonstrating the development of ideas in a society. With each additional head, there are new perspectives, new ideas, and each member brings their own ideas with them, which sometimes can lead to conflict. According to Causes of Disputes and Conflicts by Schl, new ideas are often the roots of conflicts because they challenge the old ideas, the old ways of thinking. They can also bring about conflicting interests as different parties struggle to show whose perspective is in the right. This is made self-evident in intractable conflicts, which are conflicts that continue to remain unresolved. As they increase in ferocity and eventually explode with destructive power, thus you have war. Prime examples are everywhere within history. Just to name a few, the Crusades, the American Revolution, and even the modern war on terror. All have one thing in common: they all have different perspectives, and all these ideas lead to conflict, to war. Sometimes the strain of conflict, instead of spewing out into bloodshed, can cause division within a society. Rather than fight over issues, parties will decide to set aside their quarrels and separate. You can see this in, the blacks versus whites in the American history. You can see this in both popular and then non-popular in high school. In college, it's not really much of an issue now. I have a picture for I also have a demographic for this as well. I call it, here's the picture of people in the cafeteria who you sit with. Yep, this is how people like to break down. Yeah, you can see those weirdos. I wasn't sitting with those people. No, I don't stack cups. Let's see. Next photo, I believe. Yep, the social divisions. This is a chart about social divisions that I broke up. The social world is the global, the universal world that everybody lives in. And then you kind of have the territories or states. That territories are for like countries that have provinces and things of that nature, or states in terms of America. And then you have little countries, oopsie daisies. Reverse these two in your mind. I must have been half asleep when I developed this PowerPoint. And then finally you have communities. It is a good thing that alternate ideas do not always cause war and social divisions, because if that were so, our species would die out. We are a social type of people. James D. Farron, in his book Rational Explanations for War, points out that only when 2 conflicting parties receive no more profit from war can they achieve peace. Fighting and social separation can be costly for the human population. A continual source of this burdens society as a whole and can wipe out our population if left to foster more conflict. Sometimes in desperation, society will accept differences and can discontinue the quarrel simply to survive. This change in attitude is a direct result of society realizing that the supposed profits of war division are no longer as appealing as that of peace. And I have this really nice photo of my best friend with a bunch of girls. The girls finally gave up and decided that they were going to hang out with him simply so that he would stop bugging them. Just kidding. The Great Civil Rights Movement in America was one of these occasions when people chose to accept differences and become unified. Another instance would be the tearing down of the Berlin Wall. A final example would be, I think this is more relevant to us, going to parties and meeting people that you ordinarily would not meet. So that's kind of a plus for, I think, all of us. To wrap up, the growing population of the world plays a big part in affecting the world's perspective and ideas. When society has conflicting viewpoints, the stress and division of opinions can cause war to develop. But the same is true in reverse. The stress of war and social division can cause society to become more unified as new ideas and conclusions form. It's probably obvious now that there is a circular relationship to how ideas affect the world, and it's all about our choices and decisions that we make in life. So that's my speech for you guys. Hope you enjoyed it.